huge. Now, in the book of Job, the behemoth all of a sudden is seen and witnessed. And the way Job describes it, it's not a biological entity that we are familiar with today. It is described that it has skin of metal and ribs made out of gleaming bronze. Its limbs like bars of iron. Its back is made of shields in rows, shut up closely as with a seal. And then Job even describes that it is like some type of an animal. But what animal breathes smoke and fire and has glowing eyes? Might the eyewitness account of the Leviathan found in the book of Job actually be a description not of an underwater creature, but of misunderstood technology, as ancient astronaut theorists suggest? In the book of Job, we have a text line that says that this creature's outer skin consists of two hulls. So this description in ancient biblical times that we have a double hull object is interesting, because we know today that submarines have two hulls. And the reason why they have two hulls is in order to dive and resurface. And what happens is you fill and empty the ballast tanks. Now, what happens when you empty the ballast tanks? The submarine ejects a whole bunch of air that makes the whole surrounding area look as if the ocean is boiling. And we have exactly this reference point in Job. That all of a sudden, the wake of the Leviathan, it looked as if the sea was boiling. Job describes having seen this thing also on land. It begs the question if what we have here is an example of a transmedium craft. A craft that operates both on land and in the water. Today we have videos of UFOs or UAPs that are coming and going from the ocean. We call them transmedium craft. Well, this is exactly what we see in these ancient myths about the dragons. These are supposed to be dragons or mythological creatures, winged creatures that fly in the air, but then they also go into the ocean. It makes you wonder, are these in fact UFOs that we're seeing in the ancient world that were interpreted or mythologized as dragons?
I was in the Navy for 9 years, and we always talked with each other about unidentified submersible objects that are UFOs that stay in the water and then bust out at the top of the ocean, and off they go. It's very widespread. As a matter of fact, there have been reports of lights down in the water following our Navy ships, and then all of a sudden they bust through the top of the ocean and they take off. They're out there. And it's entirely possible that people who witnessed these things a long time ago confused them with creatures or real dragons.
Could the accounts of dragons emerging from the sea, found in mythologies around the world, be descriptions of an advanced technology capable of traveling not only through the sky, but also through water? And if so, might the misinterpreted craft our ancestors witnessed be the same UFOs reportedly seen today? Ancient astronaut theorists suggest the answers may be found by examining the alignment of an ancient structure to a dragon in the stars. Northwest Cambodia. Just outside the city of Siem Reap lies Angkor Wat, the world's largest religious structure, with each side measuring nearly a mile long. Mainstream archaeologists believe the temple complex was likely constructed around the 12th century AD. But according to Cambodian legend, it is far older. Built in 600 BC by a half-human, half-divine architect who traveled between Earth and the realm of the gods. Angkor Wat was built by none other than Priya Pistakar. His mother is not of this world. seven stars of the constellation of Draco. So you have to wonder what the connection is. And the answer to that, in my opinion, is that if you would like to show a local population where you're from, you have them build something in the constellation of where you are from. To me, those are calling cards where our teachers long ago came from.
Is it possible that the story of Angkor Wat's celestial origins is true? And that it was purposely designed to line up with the stars of Draco, because this was the ancestral home of Priya Vishnukar. Ancient astronaut theorists point to the temple's many depictions of dragon-like creatures as further evidence that it has a profound connection to the Draco constellation.
In South Asian traditions, Nagas occupy an important place. They are considered to be very powerful creatures. They are shapeshifters, and Nagas share a number of interesting similarities with Chinese dragons, more specifically. So both of them are givers of knowledge and of wisdom.
In the same way that Kukulkan seems to represent some sort of a crab to the Mayans, we find the same thing with the Naga at Angkor Wat. They could represent a craft that is utilized to transport people from Earth to Draco.
Is it possible that dragon traditions throughout the globe originated with visitors coming to Earth from a planet somewhere within the Draco constellation? Curiously, Angkor Wat is not the only ancient site that aligns with Draco. On the other side of the world, in Ohio, a Native American serpent effigy known as Serpent Mound was positioned to point to Draco. And in ancient Egypt, all pyramids were positioned to have an entrance passage geometrically aligned so that Draco's primary star, Alpha Draconis, would be visible at night.
It's interesting to think that the constellation Draco may have something to do with these dragon myths. With all of these separate cultures around the world that are seemingly unconnected, whatever these flying dragons are, perhaps they came from a planet that was from the star system, Draco.
Virtually every culture has a legend about dragons or dragon beings that came from the sky. And what we're uncovering now is the revelation that these beings came from the sky because they're actually extraterrestrial beings. Is it possible that today we're subconsciously tapping into hidden knowledge, something that has always been there and is part of like the thought sphere of humanity?
Could it be that humankind's long-held fascination with dragons has a direct link to the cosmos and possibly visitors from the constellation of Draco? Have stories and imagery of dragons persisted in modern times because of a deep-seated desire to reconnect with our extraterrestrial past? Perhaps further clues can be found by examining humanity's latest endeavors beyond Earth and the recent launch of a spacecraft called Dragon. The Gulf of Mexico, January 24th, 2022. Just off the coast of Panama, Florida, the latest SpaceX cargo shuttle, called Dragon, splashes down.
It's really fascinating what's happening right now because SpaceX just named their rocket Dragon. The Chinese named their entire rocket fleet based on ancient Chinese celestial mythology. It's called the Shangzhou program, and Shangzhou means heavenly chariot. So to have all of a sudden modern cultures refer to their celestial vehicles as dragons or heavenly chariot, to me is nothing else but a repetition of history, meaning we are not the first to do this.
The image of the dragon still excites our imagination. When Elon Musk decides to build a spaceship to lift up to the stars, he names it Dragon.
So it's almost like we're acting out mythology. We're riding on or in a dragon back up to the stars.
Clearly, humankind has had a love affair, an eternal fascination with dragons. And in my opinion, dragons did not really exist in a biological form, but perhaps they were the result of an incredible event that happened a long, long time ago in our collective unconscious.
It may surprise a lot of people to know that throughout the world, the dragon is not a symbol of evil. It's certainly not in China. It's a symbol of good luck and fortune. In the Middle East, the serpent brings knowledge and understanding. Even today, we have the symbol of a serpent, a winged snake, associated with knowledge on the medical badge.
Virtually every culture in the known ancient world has some kind of dragon legend. Every single one of them. The dragon represents something incredibly powerful, but also incredibly noble.
Dragons are something that people are obsessed with. Even today, people still get tattoos of dragons on their bodies. And you wonder, why is it? What is the attraction with dragons? Well, for one thing, dragons symbolize divine and heavenly power. But behind that is the realization that the dragons ultimately represent our origins. They were the great civilizers. They were the founders of civilization. So by connecting ourselves with the dragons, we're actually trying to tap into that original power of those divine beings.
Could it be that traditions of dragons found all over the world tell the story of humankind's true origins? Is it possible that our celebration of these winged beasts is actually commemorating ancient contact with extraterrestrials? Perhaps we will find the answer as we send our own dragons into the sky and reconnect with our alien ancestors. Extraordinary accounts of missing time.
Once the aircraft penetrated the tunnel, time started changing instantly. It only took 3 minutes and 20 seconds to fly 100 miles.
Otherworldly events that seem to alter reality.
It seemed like everything was going in slow motion, like everything was slowing down.
Sightings of strange craft changing location instantaneously.
These vehicles are able to pop in and pop out of either time or another dimension.
Could extraterrestrials have mastered the ability to travel through time? Is Earth being visited not only by entities from other planets, but also from the future, or even the distant past?
Perhaps an alien civilization in outer space, thousands of years more advanced than us, may be able to time travel.
There is a doorway in the universe. Beyond it is the promise of truth. It demands we question everything we have ever been taught. The evidence is all around us. The future is right before our eyes. We are not alone. We have never been alone. Mount Pion, Turkey. Here, where the ancient Greek city of Ephesus once stood, lie the ruins of a religious site known as the Grotto of the Seven Sleepers. The grotto is thought to be the location where many centuries ago, a group of 7 men experienced a shift in time.
In the Christian and Islamic story of the 7 sleepers of Ephesus, we learn the amazing story of 7 warriors who professed Christianity in 250 AD when it was just beginning to emerge as a new religion. The Roman emperor offered these warriors an opportunity to recant and to disavow their Christianity. Instead, they decide to sell all their possessions and go into a cave. And in response, the emperor decides to seal this cave with the sleepers inside of it.
Several hundred years go by, and a shepherd chances upon this cave, and he breaks down the wall, and the 7 people inside the cave have been sleeping for hundreds of years, and it's now 300 years later, and they're still alive, these 7 sleepers.
These sleepers then go into Ephesus, and nothing looks the same. Something they noticed is that there are Christian crosses everywhere, because by now, Christianity has taken over.
The 7 sleepers of Ephesus, you think, okay, is it that there's a miracle here, or have they been in a place where the timeline, has shifted, and so what seems 300 years to them has been a much shorter amount of time?
While many scholars regard this story as fictional, millions of Christians and Muslims believe a true miracle took place, and that these 7 warriors were transported into the future. In fact, hundreds of graves have been found at the grotto dating back to the 5th century, along with inscriptions indicating that people were buried there because it was considered a location of great power. Today, it remains a popular pilgrimage site, serving as a testament to humankind's preoccupation with one of the most significant and least understood forces in the universe: time.
What is time? That's a great question. It's a fundamental question. We all normally live along the straight line of time, from the past, present, to the future. But the question is there a way around that? A way to travel through time?
Time is important to us. The passage of time is an item of grief that we all know is universal. We have a kind of longing to defeat time.
Why has time travel stuck around for so long in human consciousness? I think this idea that you can go into the ancient past or travel into the future is the ultimate trip.
The notion of breaking free from the seemingly inescapable bonds of time has existed in the human imagination for centuries. But modern concepts of time travel are largely credited to science fiction author H.G. Wells, who in his 1895 book, The Time Machine, speculated as to how time travel might be scientifically possible.
H.G. Wells began to say to himself, if we can move in space, why can't we move in time? And that's the beginning of his novel, The Time Machine. H.G. Wells said it takes 3 coordinates to locate an object in space. Time, therefore, is the 4th dimension. We need 4 coordinates to identify any event in our universe.
H.G. Wells talked about the idea that space and time were somehow linked together, and the protagonist of the book was able to go at will anytime into the future or anytime into the past to actually experience and see what was going on.
Could humankind one day be able to travel back in time, or even into the future? Incredibly, just a decade after the publication of The Time Machine, Albert Einstein proposed a similar vision of time travel.
H.G. Wells in 1895 mentioned the idea of time and space being connected. Now, this is interesting because Albert Einstein came up with a theory of relativity where he also proposed that time and space are connected.
Time used to be thought of in Newtonian classical physics as something absolute. It didn't change, it was the same for everybody everywhere.
Einstein came along in 1905, published a paper on special relativity, and demonstrated that time is actually relative.
Now, in Einstein's theory, space and time are linked to each other. That's why it's called space-time. Whatever you do to space also happens to time. A rotating black hole, because of twisting of space, time is linked to space. So if I'm twisting space, I can twist time. Mathematically, this has been shown. I can travel from the future back into the past. We haven't been able to do it yet experimentally, but it's a real part of Einstein's general theory of relativity.
Is it possible that space-time can be manipulated to travel into the past? And if so, how close is modern science to achieving such an incredible feat? The University of Connecticut, 2021. Theoretical physicist and professor Dr. Ronald Mallett works closely with a team of researchers on a project to realize his lifelong dream, the creation of a time machine. By using a mechanism called a ring laser, Dr. Mallett believes that he can manipulate the fabric of space and time to create a door that can open to the past.
What I did was I solved Einstein's gravitational field equations, and I was able to show that a circulating beam of laser light will cause a twisting of space. There is a device, it's called a ring laser. All it is a device that causes light to move around in a loop. You can get it to do that in a number of different ways, bouncing off mirrors, for example. And I was able to show that a circulating beam of laser light will cause a twisting of space. What I was able to show further is that if this twisting of space was strong enough, it could lead to time being twisted into a loop. And these loops in time could allow for the possibility of time travel in the past. This is all anchored in Einstein's general theory of relativity.
While Dr. Mallett's time machine may be theoretically sound, one major hurdle stands in its way: harnessing massive amounts of energy.
The real constraint with a time machine at the moment is the energy involved, because you have to bend the dimension that's time.
The energy at which you can create a gateway through space and time is called the Planck energy. The Planck energy is a quadrillion times more powerful than our most powerful machine, the Large Hadron Collider. We're talking about the energy of a star, perhaps an alien civilization in outer space, thousands of years more advanced than us.